Well, thanks for coming. Please get some refreshment. You need to end. It will be less intense today than last time. So the goal of the course is to complement your either experimental or highly theoretical calculations or experimental measurements with computational things, and you're getting practical skills here in the lab. In 8 days, not tomorrow but next Thursday, there will be presentations, and you all will share your skills in basic molecular modeling. Right? So we went maybe too far last time, maybe too far in a good sense. We did half of the preparation, so we can go a little slower today. But do not hesitate to stop and lead a discussion if you think that your subject that you volunteered for were not represented in the right way. So, where did we stop last time? We kind of went up to point 6, and I will return to clean and optimized geometry maybe a little later. Let's focus on the subjects here and there. So, Kim is not here. Okay, that's for him. So there are additional ways to visualize your atomistic models, and there are several pieces of computational chemistry software written by different people and using different file formats. So there is a piece of software to convert them between different formats, and even if you do not realize some of the pieces of software, some of the formats, please take a copy if you want to. And it looks like we are on the record for the screen, but camera doesn't copyright. It navigates on the black wall, and all tech support are taken end of the day by now. But I hope you do not miss much of the hand waving stuff. So everything what is on the screen should be recorded. There are by now we do know for sure a couple of formats. One, the plain XYZ format when you record Cartesian coordinates, and another, the native format of Gaussian and Gauss-U software. There are much more. So which formats of atomistic models you remember?
JMOL. Well, okay. There's the 000, like the. Are we talking? Oh, sorry, what was your question? Formats.
Like when who practice? Huh?
The Cartesian.
Huh? Cartesian, it's like XYZ, yes. Who did play with Hypercam?
HAM.
Yes. So there is a native format of Hypercam, HIM. Who did downloaded the long protein chains from protein database? Yes. So you know some formats. And there are much more of them. So if you are a leader of a country and you make foreign travel, you do not need to speak other languages. You have assigned translator. Okay? Same for quantum mechanics. There is a program which is assigned translator to translate formats. And the name for this code is Babel.
Oh, so okay, CIF.
Yes.
CIF
Yes.
to COM or
Uh-huh.
input files.
Okay, so right now it will be like personal
Yes.
presentation for Q&A.
Yes.
Your subject. You selected to present on
Yeah.
converting formats.
Yeah.
So if you go to like Wikipedia and look for Babel software, it will come up some colorful logo with a fish, and there is a way to download the software on the PC, but which you are welcome to do and work on this nice logo. But primarily, we will run it in a command line, and it is luckily installed on both Photon and CCast. So it is available. It's very simple. I don't know what I'm doing here. It's like 30-second presentation. You can try to extend it, tell stories, jokes, examples. So if you are everyday user of Photon, use your own credentials. This time you get your own accounts, but for the beginning, just do same as you did last time. And is there anyone who was not here last Wednesday? I'm almost remembered all faces and names, but I can miss. Anyone who was not here last Wednesday? No one. So please follow the same procedure as we did last time. Download MobaXterm, extract it, run it, and then log into the server.
Or if you have your own laptop, you could just run the exe.
Yes. So MobaXterm is the quickest and simplest solution, but if you are looking for long-term practical use, you may want to use Cygwin with X. And there are several. Cygwin is free. There are also commercial things that enable you to make file tunneling.
Do you still?
Perfect.
I mean, which is your preference personally? Since
Here, MobaXterm is so much quicker. If you didn't set up Cygwin in the right mode, it will take like. If you are lucky and if you are not doing it for the first time, it will take 15 minutes. But if you're doing it for the first time, it will take 2-3 hours.
Okay.
Not of your time, but of the downloading,
Right.
Setting keys. Send me an email reminder, and I'll either share instructions or just sit together.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
that it will. You don't see?
It's hard to see. I don't know what the second word for .edu is. I don't know.
Me too. But you know, names of the servers do not need to be recognizable. Human stuff. Better?
Yeah, and then I got to this point, I will admit, I forgot to go over to it.
Just start.
So it is local, I thought we wanted to do it.
No, type SSH. So I don't remember who will be presenting Linux basics. Right? No. Kurt will present file transfer, and we will present this stuff, how to work in, what is SSH, right? It's your part.
Yeah, and I'm will good help because I don't know details.
So SSH, secure shell. What's name?
No.
Right?
Steps in that, whatever you want.
Space. SSH space. Now we try to.
Yep.
So let me walk around and see that everyone can see. So after you get to your, there is a subdirectory for the class and then subdirectory for your personal activity. And you do have your Vinzen model. If you don't, you can if it got corrupted through time, you can borrow one from my subdirectory. So you do copy space. So maybe for the sake of time, try to steal one from myself. But which molecule you are dealing with, it doesn't matter. You can start from any of those. So let me walk through and see.
Obviously.
Which is possibly what?
What? Is anyone else getting weird question marks in their info file?
So I did lie to you. In a little sense. Let me make a circle and talk one-to-one. It will be more efficient. Just play if you're already there. Try to push different buttons.
Well,
Is it Gauss view?
I don't know. I'm not used to it.
Oh.
So I mean, help understand.
How do we open Gaussian? Gaussian?
No, later.
Okay.
We will return to Gauss view, but we should develop a feeling that we are independent of Gauss view.
Okay. Okay.
Just explore these. I'll show in the center, and then if you're sitting nearby, you just cut it. Please do the same and explore the menus. Huh? CP is copy, yes. May I will teach you what is CP in 8 days, right?
Well, we're gonna have to talk.
Yeah, you will be a Linux guru of the class.
But,
You have signed up.
yes, yes.
Okay, so mine had a weird error. I have a question mark R. Are those supposed to be pardons?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, count total number.
So 1, 2. So it must be hydrogens because we already have.
Yep.
So 1, 2, 6. Yeah, they're hydrogen. 2, 4.
Maybe those are uncompensated bonds. Therefore, Control X. You didn't change anything.
No, I didn't.
I noticed this as well. And I decided,
Oh, you mean when I made it, it just didn't recognize the.
yeah.
So that's why I said space dot right. Spin. This is called border slash. Symbol somewhere. There it is.
Oh, it just loaded in. Okay.
Just
Oh, there you
clear
go.
it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So let me come to the same stage on the screen. So before we go to Babel, let's look on the JMOL, which will be who is doing it? Kevin, who is not here, but we need to do it anyway. So this is really short JavaScript. You all heard about Java, right? Portable stuff that will work on any operating system. And this is obsolete older version, but if you go online and download, it will come newer version, which is much more functional but less pleasant. So, but you can just copy this jmol8.sh file onto other platform and it will work as well. So and jmol.jar for to make work. So what it does, it reads your Cartesian coordinates, okay, and visualizes. So it does same things as Gauss view does. Minus it is not as advanced in it responses to comments, but not in the right.
I think I find it harder to build a molecule in JMol a little bit.
JMol is not intended
To build with? Okay.
Yes, we are back on the screen. Good. So those who are not in the lab today will be able to watch at least something. So newer version do have options to edit and modify, but not as pleasant as Gauss view. So do not count on it for building models. But if you need to quickly visualize something on for like if your connection with server breaks and you do not have Avogadro, Hypercam, or Gauss view on your local, like if you're flying in the airplane and you do not want to pay for Wi-Fi, right? And then you may want to have something local.
Right.
So JMol is probably the cheapest option.
Okay.
So it's and it will work with guarantee. You can. It's not good for building models, but it's good for analyzing them. Another functionality of this very little simple piece of software, it allows to visualize normal modes and molecular dynamics if you have files with molecular dynamics. Also, it has options to measure distance. If you explore the
You mean like kind of like that?
you already can do more than I can. Oh, by the way, before I start clicking buttons, newer versions of JMol do have a command line screen and it is intended for like million of atoms of biological origin, and they can do this ribbons and labeling of I do not speak this language, but you know, like histamine, ternary coil, stuff like this. But we can use it for simple molecules as well. So measure distance. We just click on the pair of atoms, and when you click, it does the same things as we can do in Gauss view, but in addition to it will show distance. I mean, it shows Cartesian projections. Like if you hate files and you do not want to open actual Cartesian files, it parses atoms and shows their Cartesian projections. And when you add to measurement list, it appears as a little label. And then you can do other. So basically, you can make all interatomic bonds labeled on your picture. So if you plan to use skills from the class for very simple characterization of given geometry, maybe you do not need more. You just optimize geometry, measure distances, and tell it's my best optimized stable geometry for given chemical. And you can just sketch the screen and use it as a figure in the paper if you need distances. There are well, it's basic things, but you can look into same stuff that was available in Gauss view, the angles. Hi, Kevin.
Hey.
Yeah. I'll answer to your email later if I saw it. There's a coffee in the back.
All right, thank you.
So this is a subject that you have elected to present,
All right.
JMO software. So it has the same functionality as Gauss U for measuring distances. So you select three atoms, three nuclei, and it shows angle between them. It's not a big wonder that it is with the symmetry, C3 symmetry, it's 180. Right. So please practice and explore additional functionality and menus on your own. I'll make a circle and see that you are all on the same page. So please all on the same page. Okay. So download mobile external.
Okay.
Load into okay. So some of you are looking onto solids that sit inside in a box. So it automatically makes a smallest possible box that will encage the molecule, and also it's nothing scientific, but it's more visual. For more complicated objects, sometimes you may want to change projections from orthographic to three-dimensional projection perspective, right? So just try to play with it so that you feel comfortable. And there is an additional functionality. The minimalistic way of editing the structure is to remove something. So if red cross, typically it means to heal. Here it means like cut off. So if you select red cross and click on item, it will disappear. So for example, if you need if you study quantum dots of semiconductors, you can take a bulk and then carve, removing atom by atom like a sculpture.
Right, and that's how you get your body sitting too. How you get the faces.
Yes,
Of your-
yes,
Yep.
yes.
No, click on it. Oh, you already did it. Yeah, didn't you? Just read Control C plus. Doesn't work.
And it also can measure dihedral angles, but it doesn't make sense for the planar model.
How do you do undo? How do you
Undo? Look and measure. It has clear all distances, all angles, or delete specific. So there is no undo, but you can clear specific distance. I'll tell you a joke. I cannot wait. It would be more appropriate for closer to the end of the course.
No,
But,
I deleted some of the atoms. But if you want to.
Kurt probably will appreciate it most. So a programmer goes to sleep and puts a glass with water in case he will decide that he wants to drink during night. And nearby he places an empty glass in case he will not want to drink.
Okay. Okay.
So it's you either add or remove the distances. So let's make a circle and see that you are feeling good.
See, we're gonna have to compile this.
Just
I want to
Yes,
put
yes.
A joke list. A joke list. Bad joke list.
the unfortunate creative.
So,
Okay. It's a David Star. It's right. It's right. It's you, Jerry. Use some this is hard to
it's suggested that you memorize it.
okay.
I don't think I've made a very good crystal.
It's a very questionable crystal.
If you are presenting a subject that we are currently discussing, please consider to make screenshots and record it into PowerPoint so that you don't waste, you don't spend additional time later.
Okay.
Okay? So just explore functionality and think how it can be useful for your like research and education. So right now the last menu is empty because it has only one snapshot, but later on some of you already know how to, but we all will go through how to generate either trajectory of optimization or molecular dynamics with several snapshots, and then you can load them and make them to play like a movie. What else? Ben brought the options that he just reminded what I didn't focus on. Sometimes if you are using really not very new equipment, it may take resources for visualization. Well, for 12 atoms it will never happen, but if you have more than 1,000, it may delay. So there is a way to disable some like three-dimensional effects, like remove shading, and then it will work much quicker. Right now you do not see it, but if it is something large,
So we can't add things to it?
no. Well, in newer version you can,
Okay.
but then there are some. It's much more rich, but some pleasant options are removed. So So you can make it really, and there are also ways to. Just want to. So there are different ways to visualize atoms, just showing them by a little corpulent spheres. And for bonds, you see that there are options. The lines that are being drawn for chemical bonds, it is just an abstraction. In Gaussian, it uses some chemical intuition, but here it is just a parameter. So you may set up this minimal bonding distance, and by tweaking this parameter, you may induce it to draw or not to draw the bond between atoms. If you have some unknown structure, you may, for example, remove some bonds just by changing this bond tolerance. Okay. And there is an option to save as. So right now it has only 3 options for save as, but one of them is the PDB protein database format. So if we practice it, before we go to this, let me know if visualization induce any questions, if you feel comfortable with playing with this JMOL. Works well? No questions?
So what if you completely deleted your molecule?
Huh?
What if you completely deleted your molecule?
Who completed?
I did. I deleted it.
If you do not save it, you can reopen it.
Okay.
If you reopen it, you delete whatever was before.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, okay, I see.
So if you save it as PDB, and then one can go into the command line and compare. So here is the XYZ format that shows number of nuclei, 12, then 6 carbons, 6 hydrogens, and Cartesian projections. Sometimes when it is machine generated, it does poor job on counting digits. It looks a little messy, but you know, any deviation in digit number 16 doesn't change anything. But if you practice the save as PDB, it looks somewhat different, right? So instead of our, it also shows the carbons, hydrogens, and Cartesian projections, but the format is different. Like when the code is reading PDB, one expects that column number 1 will be type of atom, column number 2, 3, and 4 will be Cartesian projections. Here it is not the case. You see that the difference is not very large. It's the same information, but slightly different format. And if you are writing a code, if you are like programming every day, it's like changing one line or a couple of symbols in which order to save format. But when you are thinking about molecules, you don't have time to reprogram every tool. You better download the right tools. Okay? So, how to convert? I'm done with JMol. And almost done.
Wait, how did you get the PD? I think you had. Did
PDB?
you convert the XYZ file?
File?
Oh, you saved it. Okay, that's where you saved it.
Save as. Also, you can open, not open from the mouse operated stuff. You can open anything in XYZ or PDB. And so I can probably go into your directories and look what you have done. And in JMol itself, sometimes it comes together with samples. And if you need examples for your projects or you just want to have fun, you see that it comes with some popular molecules. Like, what do we need? It has. So you may want to browse through this directory just to have fun, if you like molecules of different type. Display, atom style, atom labels, atomic symbols. Yeah, sometimes if you do not remember color code, you can just display atom labels.
See, I'm dyslexic. I got this. Oh.
I shouldn't spend too much time because I'm getting excited and forget about how good. So if you open something with several snapshots, you just run same as on your like video player. Just click on the triangle and it shows what was going on during molecular dynamics. Yes.
How did you get
I was on the back where here it's fine. I'm actually then I'm saying this. Usually it would show 96 on this.
Yes. So typically it should be in users. Home.
Like this.
And yeah, those files you sent to me, and then now you're uploading them yourself.
Oh, these files are available.
Yay! Oh, that's pretty. I like this structure. This structure is my favorite.
So let me stop it
It is.
because
It's a-
otherwise there are too many computer resources and it can block. Yes. Bless you, bless you, bless you. It's your favorite, right?
It is. It is. It better be.
Yeah, if you are missing, well, in 2 months, if you will be missing models for your research projects, you know, you can like import them from repository. Yes.
Well, I mean, the point of this program is to do what exactly?
This program intends to visualize no calculations and even no building. Well, next versions do have building, and then they thought they did something good, but in fact it is bad. They enable to re-saving only in Gaussian format, but they do not allow to saving in Cartesian XYZ. Previous left can be corrected easily, but it takes you seconds and minutes. Yes.
Okay, 2 questions. First one, how do I get the animation like each one on the screen up there?
So for this model, you do not have snapshots. You need to open another node. Gmodes, samples, and then you maybe just
Sorry, no, did not open this preview file. And again, I'm opening
okay.
Alright, so yeah, when I present next week, as part of my like 3-minute presentation, I should show, I guess, like how to like open this like Gmail application, like how to add molecules and even this like animation slide.
Yeah, you can. Well, there are no formal requirements, but try to think what can be useful for your research for progress in class.
Okay.
Measuring distance is definitely useful. Like showing which type of effects would be useful. Think it's not very complicated, but make sure that if someone will not hear or miss it, so we can teach major things.
Alright, one more question. Is there a way to like take all the data I have from JMO and just like download it into this screen right here?
Okay, I've got your question, and I'll make a little announcement to everyone. Please lift your hands if you are very comfortable and familiar with printing screenshots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who is not very comfortable with screen capturing? 1, 2. Okay, I'll show it. So, for example, I want to make a PowerPoint with this image. So you cannot do everything you did. We are doing some recordings, but it is very unpractical. You better make step-by-step screenshots. So there is a button, print screen, on the keyboard. So if you push it, and then if you are going to paint, and then you can do Control V for pasting. So then it will show whatever was on the screen. So sometimes you do not need the whole screen, you need a little fragment. So you can select and do Control C, and then you go to your presentation, add new slides, and then you can insert picture. Oh no, you just do control paste. Yes?
There's another way to do it too.
Oh, there is a screenshot, right?
No, export.
Okay, can you go here and instruct everyone? So it's 3 minutes.
All right, so we're...
Master class from Marymount.
No. Okay. So you're gonna go to export image, and you could just call this test one. Now you have options to do BMP, GIF, JPEG, PNG. I recommend PNG because I think it makes a better
Okay.
image, but go ahead and save it, and then it should put you in the folder that you saved in. So, yeah, and then use your visualization to,
But then you need to download it to the local computer.
that's
Yeah,
the,
thank you. But either way, you can print screen and bring image to the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Okay? And then you just, if you practice something that you want to show later, like each 10 seconds you stop, make screenshot, put into a slide, and then go further. Huh? Yes, yes. Whatever. You can take your cell phone photograph, but it will take more resources. So, done. Kevin, did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. So we are about done with JMO, and now we need the Babel. So if I'm going to just online, I can type Babel, and
I think you have to type on Babel.
yes.
or the Tower of Babel.
Yes, it should be the fish. And
You have to click the green.
one can download it and set up it on your private desktop. We are not allowed to install anything on these computers, but this software is already available on the server on the photo. So you type Babel -H, which stands for help, and then it will impress you with the long list of file formats. So maybe it's too many. You do not want to. If you're a user, you need maybe a couple of lines from there. But if you are a teacher of the subject, like Q&A, you may look through all of them and then summarize it for the class. I'll answer the question and then get back to this. Yes?
So whenever I was running this,
Control C to stop.
-H, -H. After.
Yep.
So let me bring up.
Space.
Yes.
Space. Definitely.
Doesn't have to be.
Huh?
It's just the H that's capital.
Yes, H is capital.
Space.
So here's the format of using Babel. So you type the keyword, the name of the script, and then you use. I don't know how to explain it. It seems so simple, but I don't have words. There are like each function in math and each like script in command line has arguments. There's a function of 1 argument, 2 arguments. So this script does have 6 arguments. It looks a lot, but it's really simple. So they are like first argument is -I. It tells, listen, right now I'll tell you what will be the input form. So I stands for input. Next, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arguments. Next argument is what is the input format. So if it was generated after running Gaussian, which we didn't cover yet, but who cares? There, when you do Babel -H capital, it lists all formats. So it shows what is the input. And then you put space and argument number 3, the name of the file that you want to process. Okay? So we are done with 3, and I'll repeat if needed. Then space, another keyword, -O. It means, listen, now I'll tell you what will be the output I want. Okay? And then you tell, okay, I want humble Cartesian, XYZ. And you do not put space here. If you see it for the first time, it looks a little crazy coding like IG03, XYZ. But it means dash output, Cartesian. Then space, and then you give name of the output file. So in fact, it will convert this file into this file. Or this one will be in format of Gaussian, this one will be in format of XYZ. Okay? So there is nothing super innovative. It's very technical too, but really helpful. Because it summarizes all hundreds of available formats and whatever, with very few exceptions. For most of the tools, most of the formats native for different computational codes, it will take both input and output, and you can convert. So if you want to collaborate with a friend or colleague who is using different software than you do, you can convert to his or her favorite format and pass it on. Okay? Questions? Yes?
Any potential for rounding errors?
Huh?
Any potential for rounding errors?
Rounding errors?
Well, I was noticing just that even with the distances between the atoms, there was slight rounding errors in the software, so it'll be converted from that format. Is there problems?
Beyond 8th digit, even beyond 5th digit, it doesn't matter. Yes?
So the Babel software allows you to convert from like a 2D coordinate to 3D.
No, it's a different thing. They all are 3D.
Oh, they all are 3D?
Yeah, it doesn't, to my knowledge, correct me when we will explore it, to my knowledge, it will not convert like ChemDraw 2D to ChemDraw 3D.
Okay.
But as it needs, as an input, it needs 3-dimensional molecule. If you have 2-dimensional drawing that you want to convert to 3D, it will be a little more advanced task. It's not for this code. If you want, there are several codes that convert 2D structures into 3D. It's ChemDraw, and I have it on the laptop, but Marvin Sketch. So you like import or draw 2-dimensional, and then click 3D, and it will make chemical intuition to make it. Also, there is I'm not using it, but there is one. I'll tell you later, but there is another piece of software, WebMO, that some people in the similar classes use solely WebMO, but it will be an ideal complement to any basic courses, but it will not help you for real research. This is the cell phone and iPad application that automatically connects to a centralized cluster, run your jobs, brings you back images of orbitals and energies, but it works only for small molecules, and it connects only to certain clusters with long queue and not much resources. But if you, it also has a button for converting 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional.
But you have to have small structures.
Huh?
You have to have small structures. You can't have real.
No one forbids. You can try, but then the larger the structure, the more resources, and it may expire your human patience. Okay, Babel. No questions about this format.
I have an issue. So yeah, I'm on my files. So I want to convert, say, benzene 1 to XYZ, and I know it says I, and then I was going to do file. So that's my name.
Do it.
And then do I oh, I didn't do it.
Wait.
What's the LOG?
Log file.
Okay.
So it should be on my.
So let me. I see that. I apologize to those for whom the following comment is trivial, but I better make it. There is a convention for like several decades that files stored in computer memories have at least 2 segments. First segment is whatever human designs, and a second segment after period is a type of the file, so-called extension, right? Nothing will prevent you from corrupting extension and making it different. Nowadays, it's not as important, but many old-fashioned codes really look for extension. Like if you try to make an attachment in your Gmail software, in your Gmail mailing interface of the file that will end with .com, which is one of the Gaussian native formats, it will reject and tell like, hey, you're probably a hacker sending a virus executable. No, I'm not. And then you change the file name to .myfile or whatever, and then it will accept it easily. So it's a little silly thing, but it's just a good convention that things after the period in ideal world tell us about the type of the file. Like PPTX, it means it was done with modern PowerPoint. DOCX with Microsoft Word. .com typically in old-fashioned, it means that it is executable command, or .exe executable command. Here for computational chemistry also these extensions .xyz means Cartesian. .log means output of Gaussian log file. .hin it's hyperchem, right? .pdb protein database. Yes.
Does there need to be a space after Geo3 in between the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There are no spaces between I and this 3-letter code and O and this 3-letter code, but everywhere else there are spaces.
Okay.
So let's practice it.
Are we gonna get the slide that you have?
Yes, but I don't mind. I'm not greedy. But you will create something much better.
Okay.
I'm confident. And we are on the record. I'll share both slide and record.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind.
That file that we had created, shouldn't it be in our folder at that point, or where did it get saved?
Let me. So this test was.
That was that image I made.
Yes. So more benzene 1.xyz.
I think we're doing it. It is.
Okay. Now, and we also have benzene 1.pdb. Right. Now I will do like silly task. I'll try to reconstruct PDB, but with Babel. Babel minus input xyz, benzene 1xyz, minus output PDB, benzene 1 handmade, .pdb. One molecule converted, so no error. And now ls minus lt show us which file was last created. So now let's look on the more and then one handmade. It's a little more rich, so it's more canonical PDB, and it gives a little more information than a normal human would like to know. So it gives 3 Cartesian projections. It tells about presence of neighbors, and it tells about connectivity. So like atom number 1 is likely, which is carbon, connected to atom number 6, which is another carbon, and probably to hydrogen number 7. But if you are really curious, you may explore this format and explain what it is, but we can survive without knowing it. So if you work with proteins, it will be a standard format. Let's look once again onto list. So, in fact, the functionality of the Babel script is much richer than we are going to use here. For example, minus m means that it can split your atomistic model, which like in one file you can put several molecules and it will be one file. And the script can separate them back. So if the fragments of your atomistic model are not connected to each other, it can split them and save into different files. If you learn and get hands-on, it can be useful, especially if you have heterojunction, several polymers, like coiling around each other, and you want to split them in separate molecules. Can be cool, right? Or if you have a model of like a molecule, like nanostructure, solvated, and you want to remove solvent at once. So if you, I'm not insisting and encouraging, but if you have mood, you can look through and become the guru of the Babel. Right now on the campus, the best expert in Babel is Professor Rasulev, but you can study it and beat him. Okay, so here are the lists, and whatever. Here are the typically 3-letter extensions, and here are the names of the codes. So some of them are familiar to us by now, or will be familiar by the end of the course. Some of them will be foreign for us for the rest of the life, because there are too many of those. Amsterdam density functional. Gaussian is what we will use. ChemDraw is what people use to just make images. Some of you already recognize cube for molecular orbitals, and it will be a format that we will deal with in about 3 weeks. The Gaussian software is, like people who own it are a little picky about their legal rights, and therefore they insisted that authors of Babel software may prevent reading and writing of some formats. Like you can read output and you can write input, but you cannot do otherwise. So that you cannot generate a file that looks like Gaussian output with Babel, so that no one can tell that Gaussian output was created in the wrong way. Like some crazy things. So this long list, Babel space -h, lists these things, and you see there are different keywords for different versions of Gaussian. I think they should update it, and it should be Gaussian 16 as well. So here is your favorite hypercam, which we are likely not touching in the course, but it's a really cool tool.
What if we requested it one session?
It's monitor question. Like we shouldn't use pirate sources of the free software, and we do not want to pay like about 1,000 per copy or whatever. Games is analog of Gaussian, but it is completely free. Oscar, Sudipta is not in the class, but it is one of the formats of WASP software that we will be dealing with like second half of semester intensively. But I will offer, Babel can partially do WASP files, but I will offer something more efficient. Okay, enough. So from now on, I'm washing my hands and passing it on to Q&A. Study, and in 7 days, 8 days, teach all of us how to operate Babel.
Using this or using
Your personal
okay.
knowledge, whatever. It's not like repeat whatever was in the class. Do your best effort to teach all of us.
Okay.
Whatever you can squeeze into short presentation. Okay, let's look what else we have for today's plan. Anas wanted to present hypercam. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you show it, do screenshots, and tell how to get a license.
We could
Well,
team viewer in. We can team viewer in.
Yes, we can do something. Or I have one license, and we can put it on one computer and use it one after another. Something like this. If you present, and if anyone express interest, we can do it. But you already know how to use it.
I did.
Okay, good. Avogadro, the support team didn't install it, but maybe they will install it as we do. Do you have it on your computer? So you can just entertain us telling. If you use your personal equipment rather than these public computers, Avogadro is very good drawing tool. So if you need to draw your model and make some very basic optimization, it's for free. Who is showing VMD? Okay, I will reassign some of you to do VMD. I'll tell what it is, and it is really useful. So X-ray diffraction data. I'll tell a comment, but maybe give more information. We will have the complete meeting, a lot of time next Wednesday to complement everything. So there are CIF files which can be read either by Babel or they can be read right away by Gauss field, recognizable. And there are and also specific softwares that are designed to read these CIF files, but in fact one can use Gauss Q as well for this.
Is that the stuff you get from the crystallography database?
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
Let's quickly look onto VMD. And then after we do it, I'll go back and check job submission. We didn't cover this one. So and I also try to return to clean and optimized geometry for Gauge. Ben is already experienced in how to run Gauss Q, right? You don't need instructions.
Well, not from command.
Come on. After you log into server, you just write. Right? Basically, it's your presentation. That's it.
I mean, is there a directory that tells you all that stuff? Like, it just seems you have to know that from some document that's hidden somewhere.
So,
like GView, Kbabel, I would have typed in open Babel 50 times, capital O.
There is a way. There are two ways. Oh, there are three ways. First way, you install everything on your computer and learn WordPress. Second, you use your spendings to buy a computer station, another spending to hire a system administrator and make him or her to report where's what. And the third way is to word of mouth, as we do. Okay. Maybe it's more economic. Let me show something that will partially address your question.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where there's all these tools and then you have to be so lucky to hear it from someone, you know.
So if you are not if you fear to run something, but you want to check if a command is installed on the Linux computer, you type which, and it tells if it is installed, it shows the directory where it is physically located. I don't know if it helps. If you another way, if you see there are several special directories for executables. So if really no one helps you, if you are like after nuclear bomb, you are alone, the single person on the earth. There are all computers, but no one can help you. So you log in, go into the directory user bin, and list all files there. And then you use your intuition to understand which commands are they. Like ls user bin. And you see that there are tons of commands that do something helpful. And then you can type man, like manual, space, and then name of the command, and maybe if you're lucky, it will answer how to use it. It's not the sole place for executables on Linux, but substantial part of the executables are in this part. So please correct me if I'm wrong.
Most of them are going to be in
Huh? Where else?
there. No, most of them are going to be in there. Let's start making your own commands.
Okay. You see, like
Thank you.
zip for compressing.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. So what do we want to do? We want to do VMD. Let's check. I haven't tried if it is how good it is on the photon. Let's try.
Unless it's
No, it doesn't want. Let me re-log in and check once again.
exit takes
Yes. Oh, I shouldn't expose it. I should edit the recordings.
We saw that.
Is a question
no.
or just stretch?
Stretch.
Huh. No. Okay, maybe it's not enough resources for right now.
There's a VM core.
No, VMD.
Oh, okay.
I'll try to prepare and maybe either twist arms of the tech support so they install it here, or make sure that we have access to it. So VMD is another visualization tool, but it is superb. It's like 100 times better than JMO and 50 times better than Gauss View.
Is it in the computer in lab? In
No, not on CCast.
no. On the computers in 203 and LAD.
No.
No. Okay.
No. It is free software. You can install it on your laptops. It is free under license. You need to go to website, give your email, and then they send you the key.
Yeah.
And it makes stunning pictures that will be accepted for covers of journals at once. Okay. Just a second. So if I'm not doing it is for gauge. On the upper panel, one may want to find a broom. So if you find a broom and click it, it will optimize your. Oh, in ideal world, it will make intuitive improvement of your molecule. And if you, where's the distance? Here it is. So if you change the distance, if you were manually doing it, and then you click the broom, it should fix it.
So this is GView, right?
This is GView.
And we also worked on this last week, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So here, GView and then name of the file, or you just type GView and then open whatever you need. Let me do this once again, like corrupting the geometry, and then clicking the broom up, it brings it back. So corrupted. In addition to broom, there is more standard way to use Gauss view to run Gaussian. So I will try to show some more canonical way to use it, but give you a little warning. So what we are doing right now, what we will be trying right now, it will be for educational purposes only, and please try not to do it on a massive scale for research. Here is the protocol, standard way of using Gauss view and Gaussian. First, you do create your model with Droid and save into the file. You also may set up keywords also through the command line and save the file. But then we all are expected to upload the input file onto powerful cluster and run things there. It will be presentation number 3, I think, and we likely will cover it on our next meeting. Yeah, Sudipta. Right now, we will do some minimalistic run of the jobs on the on this server, but it is not intended for a dozen people working simultaneously. It has limited resources, and we can do only oversimplified tasks for educational purposes. So please do not overuse it. We will get access to much more productive systems. Okay, so here is a molecule which is very corrupted. So then you, in the Gauss view menu, you click Gaussian calculation setup. And there you select, there will be several options, and we will cover most of them on the presentations in whatever 4 weeks or 5 weeks, second tours of presentations, but very initial minimalistic. So optimization to a minimum, method, select mechanics, like when we will be trying to run it on a Photon, which is a really small server, do not use anything else than mechanics, because otherwise we will kill each other and the cluster, not cluster, the server simultaneously. And then you click submit. After it asks you whether you want to save. Yes, saving is really good. So you write optimize force field molecular mechanics.
All you did was optimization, minimal, and then you went to method.
Method mechanics only.
Yep.
If you select any other, you will forbid the rest of the class to use the server forever.
And then you just hit submit.
Yes.
Okay, I'm having problems with Gaussian.
Exit and read. Oh, no. Yes.
What will GBU type? Why you close that? Why? First, show me how to again GBU.
Did you try Gaussian dot?
Yes, it's X connection.
Then go to the then no close that.
I did not go.
Go structure.
Should I close it down?
Now go to the
You got
Yep.
what?
Mechanics, sorry. You are right.
It works. We trust it.
Beautiful. Okay.
and gear type. And next push state.
Submit.
Submit.
Save. Alright, then see.
So after you click submit to Gaussian, it will go there, and sometimes you will get errors. Do not panic. So the main practical skill that we will get through several attempts is how to prepare input files to avoid the errors.
Oh,
Maybe some of you will be more lucky.
I had an error.
Me too. Do not worry. Do not worry.
I have like a file that comes in.
Yes, it generates a file.
Dot check, dot log.
Yes,
Okay.
this is correct.
I'll let you do.
Yeah, this is not bad.
My second attempt was more lucky. I'll check why it was better and then report to you. And so, since we are doing oversimplified jobs, they are really quick. And then it recovers. Well, it's not a big scientific discovery, but it recovers planar geometry out of this corrupted one. So this one was input. This one is output. You can click current jobs, and if anything is running, it will appear here. So it is if you are already exposed to use of high performance clusters, it is an analog of queuing system. But we will go to true queuing system very soon. Cool, congratulations. I don't know how you did it, but it's like alchemy. You should get gold. Who else got gold?
What did you get? Oh, good job. Wow. You lost some atoms there.
And that's
Saying
an I.
click one, that's right.
Okay.
Just check the log, is it?
Yes.
Let's see what
If you start with corrupted, it will construct planar.
G.
If you start with planar, it will construct planar because it's like minimum geometry. The remaining 2 lectures, tomorrow, Thursday, and especially Tuesday, we will go over theoretical background for geometry optimization. But you are going ahead of class there. So let me make a circle and see if you are doing good or there are errors, and then I'll show something here.
Yeah, can you tell me what to do again?
Okay. Instead of energy optimization.
All right.
In case of version, maybe it's
Optimize via this or via CPS? Sent to.
it is done.
you can convert
So if you intentionally corrupt,
No, I'm saying, no, we just optimize.
No,
We
I
only
think-
have, we can literally just optimize.
Yeah.
So we optimize via Gaussian view, but not CPS. So there's no, when you send your stuff to CPS.
Yeah, so you can do it that way too. That's why he was saying that next time. HPC.
You know, sending bulk boost.
Right, Gaussian, yeah. Yeah.
What we did here.
But it's much bigger than. They
That's
cannot
why
So we're going to compute it in this process of IFG small, right? It's 100 mons.
This approach is much more canonical.
That's just Gauss.
Because the way it seemed like the wording is, you're getting
Even
prepared,
under restrictions,
and it would include that,
Yeah.
much
and
bigger
then
wall,
back to it.
500 atoms.
Well, he wanted us to know how to do it.
Yeah, but like this was not submitted to CK.
No, well,
I was making sure it doesn't.
For CCAS,
This
we have
is
to
way too cool. This said that needed Gaussian.
CCAS get lowering with the using phosphorus, right? Other phosphorus.
I think that is
I think we're doing that from.
This is one single server.
Yeah, so that's why he said we run like something else, like instead of molecule, right? We run something else.
And then, that's why I went and sent it to CCAS, so we can have all the same names. Sending them the spot, but like I said, that could
Yeah, it's fine, as long as, that's happening.
I cheated. I used the one that was in the library.
So you're cheating?
Where the benzene wasn't.
Oh, it's kind of fun today.
Why, why when we did the JMOL, how come you put a squiggly line and then JMOL?
A squiggly line.
Yeah, if you
Oh.
look at your code, it's like squiggly JMOL, and then it opens the file that's JMOL.
I'm not sure to answer your question. I don't want to kill this because I want to.
Yeah, no worries, yeah, if you don't know, it's not a big deal.
Belongs to the place where they have a monkey king.
That means all the monkeys are fed. Oh, there's monkeys everywhere in there.
Yeah,
They go and they steal your food. They're mean too.
There's an area where there's all.
Yeah, I see videos on them. Yeah, they're kind of crazy.
Guest out.
They're dirty, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah. Monkeys are not the friendliest, and they will bite. So.
They don't bite. They will take your food.
Yeah, they just know.
They starve.
Buffaloes are the ones that.
Oh, they bite.
They chase
More
you.
of them.
Do you guys have buffaloes too?
No, we don't. We have pet monkeys.
Okay.
I know there are,
It look like.
aren't there pandas in China? Pandas.
Yeah.
Probably ate all of them.
No.
Are there pandas in this?
No.
I don't know. if they're-
Pandas are really, really hard to breed because they're really dumb. Like, yeah.
They hibernate.
No, they're evolutionarily speaking, they're like the worst species. You know.
But don't you just like that dumb kittens?
I don't know.
It's good.
I don't know, I haven't looked
They're
into them.
extinguishing. They're extinguishing.
Yeah, they're running. Yeah,
Running
there are
out.
very few of them.
Well, they would do, it was amazing that it was.
You know,
Yeah, but sometimes evolution doesn't work the way you want it to.
They were now it's restricted.
So it's restricted.
Did you try to optimize or just optimize
Why
June?
would someone
They will
understand?
take it.
Like, there's no way to run
After?
from
Yes.
After optimization. It should be some crazy.
There's been like 25 animals.
Yeah,
in
there's,
the
I
last, like,
did a cure benzene somewhere.
50 years of 50 years.
So what did you put in the middle?
Berry pigeon, some ground turkey.
Oh, okay.
Then some
It should be.
Siberian.
Oh,
polar
force field
bears.
will not work for
There's
them
some
because
stuff on the east
there are
coast, there's been like some little beautiful birds,
Yeah.
shit out, so
Yeah,
you're,
the excellent.
And we.
the dodo,
I do it with benzene.
Dodo is done.
Yeah.
that was in like,
They got to.
Anyways.
Most.
That's restricted of funding.
oh, yeah.
I found
They're
it,
not-
but maybe we use all graphical resources. So VMD is much more graphical than that.
do it. So you know those laptops that are like pretty much going to surplus? I'm going to convert every single one into Linux box.
Oh, wait, you mean the ones in the lab?
The ones that are sitting there, they're free.
Oh, what are you gonna, you say you're gonna convert?
There have been cold ones.
To what?
Linux.
It's
See, Linux doesn't need much to run officially. Microsoft is the one that eats up all the memory.
lived here my whole life.
So that way, you can use an obsolete system to run calculations.
So those dashes in that benzene.
That's resonance.
What is Reddit?
Seriously?
No, I know what it.
You're supposed to show the movement on the left.
What city is that?
I just gotta review this stuff many times. And
Like
then,
what
you know, I
city
think
is
I'll
the
make
institute?
I'm not a fan of coding.
I don't have too much experience with coding either, so don't feel bad.
I understand the point of the CCast. It's just like an interface plus two bunch of tools.
Aw, you'll get used to it.
It's just a bunch of little details that hold you back for hours. You don't know where to find. He's not here.
What works?
I got mine.
Oh, it works for you?
Yeah.
Work for you?
Finally, yeah, demo, we're able to.
Yeah, it works for me too.
Okay. So what we were doing is job sub. It's probably too late. We already spent like 2 hours. But nature of thing after this will be to look onto job submission on HPC. So if you do have your HPC accounts, it's good. If not, you can send an email to administrators. If not, I will offer some solution next time. And yes,
HPC is the CCast.
yes, yes, CCast. Yes, correct.
So if they were to try to get their account, who would they try to get it on? Because you need like an advisor or something to.
It would, you could put Dr. Razzle or Dimitri.
Yeah, I'll support. I'll support. And they will be happily do it. So we are wrapping up, right? We are almost done. So I'm short-handed. we need a big stick to show things. Oh, here's the. Okay, so in presentations after Meda will show about Linux environment and X connection. By the way, right now we live an easy life. The MOBA X term opens X connection naturally, automatically. But if you do Sigwin or anything else, it's like two independent problems. First, how to connect to a cluster in a text command line format, and another, how to arrange graphical tunneling, which is known like X forwarding, X connection. So one typically needs to run X server on local computer. Just MOBA X term does it, but you may explore it a little. It's very appropriate for Linux Glue. Then Kurt will show files uploading and downloading to local computer. But in addition, next time we will practice uploading and downloading files from this Photon server to CCast. And here is the logic. I'm not keeping the intrigue. So on the photon, by use of Gauss view, we will create models and save them in the directory. We will also create like what I didn't do, what we missed to do, not because of lack of wish or time, just postponing. The input files that you all were saving in the directory before running Gaussian, it is coordinates plus a couple of lines giving assignment what to do. So right now we were going in a primitive way. We clicked buttons on the mouse-operated interface, GUI, right? But in fact, it converts our mouse-operating stuff into very rigorous instructions, input file. So the Gaussian input file that we are saving includes geometry and the instructions what to compute. Those are really, really compact, short files. And right now we practice immediate submission of these jobs to actual Gaussian software that runs stuff. And then immediately read this stuff back onto the GUI. In real life, when we need to show higher productivity, we will not practice this luxury. It looks nice, but it will delay and we will not be friendly to each other. It will stop things. In fact, our protocol will be creating input file on a small server, and some people who can purchase Gauss view licenses and install it on a laptop, or some people type in the complete input file by hands, which is a little crazy for geometries. And then we will, so Kurt will cover this part. Then we will upload input files to the high productivity CCAST cluster. Later on, we will use a few other clusters. There, we will do stuff that Sudipta will show, job submission on CCAST. And then upon job is completed, it generates output file that we download on a photon or local machine and analyze results of computation. So it is a several step procedure which we kind of waived today to see pleasure and luxury. But if you do a real research and you need to submit like dozen or 100 jobs and analyze each of them, it will, even if you do not have classmates, it will kill a single server. You cannot run several jobs and analyze them simultaneously. So we just use a high performance machine, and then it's a major practical importance, need for uploading and downloading files. So it's a survival skill. Because Photon will die if all of us will start actual quantum computations of it. And CCAST will live easily. Okay? So it is kind of heads up ideas for our last meeting next Wednesday before your presentations. Done? I'll stay here to answer any questions, but there are no more formal instructions.
So we all present next Wednesday.
You all present next Thursday.
Next Thursday, okay.
So I apologize if it is trivial, I'll better repeat. So tomorrow and Thursday you have normal lecture. For the weekend, I may give you very little homework that just to entertain you, but it's nothing. 15 minutes as before. On Tuesday, there will be again formal lecture. And then on Wednesday, we will have again lab, complementing everything which is missed here. And on Thursday, we will present.
Yeah.
Okay? I'll also ask you to submit your PowerPoints like by the midnight so that I can download them on the same computer and we do not waste time on like bringing memory stick, observing that things do not work.
Great.
Okay.
So we'll be presenting next Thursday in the other room, right? In that other
Correct,
building?
correct.
Okay.
The room where the video recording works more reliably. Yes.
So you can use putty. What's the real difference between putty and SigWin?
In PuTTY, you do not have graphical tunneling unless I'm missing something and they have updates. Right in my years when I started using PuTTY, there was no chance to run graphical applications.
Like VMD, you couldn't run VMD.
No Gauss view, no JMO.
Oh, okay.
Only command line uploading, downloading, submission.
So we do have Gauss view in the CCast.
We may, but
I don't know if
It's-
Kong set it up.
well, typically system managers of big clusters resist installing graphically intense software
It
because
eats up
it will
the-
delay compute
okay.
cycles.
That makes sense.
As for user, it is very uncomfortable for me. For me, for the user, it will be much better to build models right on CCast and
Yeah.
run them there. But I understand their interest to keep it alive for as users.
Okay. I did send you an email because I'm interested in Sigwin as well.
Okay. Yeah. Announcing adjourn. Let's depart in peace.
And I'm holding back. So yeah, when you start info, what do you want me to do for the environment? Just open it and kind of show our files, or what exactly are you?
I'm going back to the layout
Of me.
You realize I can drop it off me. It's cold.
I enjoy exercise.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's why sometimes I just like walking.
CDLS.
Instead of taking the bus, like, oh no, I don't walk from downtown. That's just
Okay.
Maybe
it's a different level of crazy. I have though, like 3 times. I just wanted to do it.
As long as you double layer.
Yeah, I did double A.
Okay.
And then
No, I
two
would
sweatpants.
Good.
One sweatpant on top of it.
No, I'll have stuff. I really just like coding, so I know how small details is. Issue with coding is if you have one wrong detail, this is everything else. You just gotta go into detail on why this is this way. It's just like, I don't know, so I can extend it. I think. Yes. So I chose it because it forced me to learn it better. I understand it's only like a
Final 3 minutes. I promise that for everyone, even those who really wanted to make it 3 minutes, it will go. It's just human nature.
Because the tough part is the time. You always go longer, but the shorter is.
Like
It's
first minute, I'm thinking like, oh, I fear to present. I will make it really, really short and necessary, and then I'll start speaking. And no, half an hour.
Yeah, I'll make it.
We don't have luxury to put half an hour for each. The room is reserved only for 2 hours maximum.
I should come give a talk in our department. We need more computation.
No.
I'll suggest it to Dr. Webster, maybe for if you have next year.
Well, us 4 or 3, they're gonna have a flood of them in the next. You're
Oh, I
gonna have
know.
presentations during the
For next
seminar?
year, probably.
Yeah, we're gonna have a big flood after.
Oh, and I'm going to be asking you questions.
I know.
I got to prepare my presentation for tomorrow. It's taking forever.
Oh, I haven't even done much work, so.
So I can
Yeah, I have to keep doing it. I know you mean.
Mine's just busy work because I found a database and I'm just hyperlinking all the things in my database, which I'm sure there's an easier way to do that.
I had to go to physical, I know you're busy with your previous advisory stuff. Yeah, during this last semester, it was finding the information via books, trying to upload them via like photo screens. Didn't work, so then I had to type in a bunch of stuff. So yeah, it takes a lot.
Yeah. I learned this in undergrad though, how to code, or to do such a use of code. Because it saves time.
Yeah, yep, it really does. We're walking.
You need a ride?
I want to walk just because
Okay.
a little exercise, but if he's not, then.
He's walking, so you guys can work together.
Okay.
Yes, me walking the whole hands.
You guys are friends. Oh,
Yeah,
buddy.
these are friends who do stuff together. You is for
Yeah.
you and me.
Oh, I'm gonna buy that book. So I can circulate it around.
So what town did you, obviously I lived in Indiana, where,
Yeah.
what town did you?
Hope. But it's not really the name. I mean, it's like the other way. It's like not Hope. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
I wouldn't call it a town.
so what's, like, how far would that be? Say I lived in Warsaw, do you know how far Warsaw is?
Ooh, that's north, isn't it?
It's going
I need to
west.
stop the recording.
Oh.
By the way,
Oh, no.
once